We did get harvest done, and since harvest is done, we've been cleaning up equipment and starting in on other activities as well. In this particular clip, you're seeing the 4850 pulling that 714 John Deere disc chisel. We were getting some field borders opened up, and then I turned the tractor over to another gentleman that comes over and helps us do some field work in the fall. And we were washing up equipment. We've had some really great weather here the past few days, so we've been really trying to take advantage of that to get the combine washed, the wagons washed, everything put away. Last year we ran to a lousy fall and had to put everything away dirty for a while, then pulled it back out. It was not too fun, but this year it's quite warm and nice, so we're getting everything washed up and put away for the season. All I have to do to take my bucket off is release it right here. I don't know if you can see it through the reflection. There's a pin right there that'll retract, you can see. So I got that out. I got my joystick, roll it ahead a little bit, and I can back up. Should be good and free. There we go. Right here on the side of this mast, there's a little potentiometer with a little piece of steel, and if you get your loader too high, that will kick the auto release out so your bucket doesn't fall on anybody. And for going down the road, I also equipped this with the nitrogen bottle right there. I can click that on and you'll see the boom settle a little bit, but that's because they're riding on nitrogen now. And that bucket releaser, that is a linear actuator, electric, and it just works wonderfully. This joystick's just really handy. It's all electronic, integrates into the software of the tractor. You can program it how you want through this setup here, so you can change your controls around into which thing you want. So I have gear shifts on a couple of the buttons, so if I'm going through the field here and I'd like to shift up, I can click up. It'll click the button there, it goes up. I have number 7 is down, so you can see you can shift there, and it does have a nice rocker switch on the back. So if you did have like a bale claw on the front, someday I'd like to have a bale claw 5000, which is I think owned by Morris Pro Ag. But you can pick up 3 bales quite easy with this loader. It's a very powerful loader. Overall, I'm very impressed with the loader, and you guys are going to see some more clips here of me unloading hay bales, which that's one of the activities that we're doing right now, is getting some last of our hay picked up, which this was actually Sudan bales. We had a horrific September with unusually large amounts of rainfall, so getting everything baled is just quite late season this year. But instead of talking about the loader and about the hay, I'm going to use these clips and this time to actually tell you a little story about something that occurred at school. My stepkids, which are Callie's 2 children, they go to school in eastern Iowa, and that school received what is called a, quote, act of violence on social media, which caused the school to go into a mass hysteria meltdown, which they evacuated the school in about 15 minutes time, rushed everybody home, canceled the Friday classes. They made the determination to resume classes on Monday, but they have multiple counselors on staff for your children to talk about their traumatic stress syndrome problems, and a lot of other liberal crap going on that I really can't stand, which is why I'm taking these clips to vent about it. Basically, all it was somebody on social media that blew off probably something they considered an act of violence, which that nowadays gets the sheriff's department, the FBI, and everything else on board, and they allowed it even on Monday to have excused absences if you don't feel, quote, comfortable to have to resume classes yourself. You can have a excused absence from the school. So these kids, they rush them home. They get the FBI in there, and they investigate, and they haven't found jack crap, I'm sure. And I remember when I was in high school, there was 2 bomb threats that were called in, and both times it was by the same guy, and it came down to it that he just didn't want to do his homework. But at that time, all he had to write was a piece of paper that said bomb on it. But things have changed a lot since then, I guess, and schools have gotten pretty liberal since. I remember even when I went to high school, I used to break a shotgun in half, stick it in a duffel bag, and I'd go to school with it, and I'd get on a bus, and my purpose was is I wanted to go to a buddy's house for the weekend. I'd put my clothes around it and have my box of shells and my gun. We'd go shoot skeet and go hunting on the weekends. Um, that's back when there was pride and honor, but apparently this entitlement generation just seems to want to kill everybody for not getting their way. But I think it's pretty stupid and pathetic to involve FBI when I know people have, even locally, a business had $250,000 of fraud committed against them, and the FBI wouldn't investigate it because they said it wasn't an amount that was reasonable to them to waste their time. But over a random social media account of nothingness, they'll go in there wholesale. It's just stupid. Those suckers don't do anything for their living, and if it is real fraud or real investigative work, they won't already do anything. Look what's going on with the impeachment trials right now. And the thought of getting multiple counselors on board. I mean, what's a 6-year-old kid going to go in there and what's he going to counsel about? His traumatic stress that he didn't even understand what the hell's going on at his school. I mean, it's a traumatic stress syndrome. Jesus H. Christ, they cancel the school, do these threats, and they tell the parents or whatever to come get your kid, and they throw the kid in the car with the parents and the mother who can't even drive a car worth of shit because they don't teach driver's ed worth a damn anymore. Send them out in the freeway, doing 95 miles an hour, weaving in and out of a bunch of foreign truck drivers who also can't drive worth of crap. Now that's post-traumatic stress syndrome. It ain't the damn school. It's probably about 500 times more likely to get wiped out there on the interstate. As our taxes continue to go up, we get less and less for our services. These schools are giant pass-through programs of stupidity. These kids, they don't learn to write. They come out there, they can't even read and write anymore. They're completely babysitter club pass-through program schools with liberal agendas. And by the way, sharing is not caring, as the 5-year-old continues to say. Sharing's a voluntary action. And if you're asked to share but told to relinquish your goods, that's frickin' communism. That's all there is to it. So as you can tell, I don't really agree with a lot of what goes on at these schools modern day. And it's gotten a lot worse since I was in there, and my dad even complained when I was in there. So, yeah, not good. But I guess the point of my rant here was as our taxes go up and up, I feel like the education our kids gets worse and worse, and when you got a whole, basically, group of people out here that are completely uneducated and ignorant as hell, and they have no reason to, learn anything, basically, you just kind of got giant cheap labor for the corporations someday, and that's a lot of what I think they want. They want a lot of people that are happy with their football game and their beer 30 hour, and they won't argue because their ignorance is bliss. Pretty sad. Anyway, everybody keeps asking for the equipment tour. There's about a 5-second equipment tour right here as I was putting stuff away after getting it cleaned up. I panned the camera around real quick, but I'll actually do an equipment tour at some point. And last, you're seeing a barge pushing something up the Missouri River.